Hi, you're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. I'm here today with Executive Director of the Independence House, Lisetta Herge Putnam. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Gabrielle. It's great to be here with you.
How are you doing? Are you staying safe and quarantining okay?
I certainly am working on it. Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. So coronavirus is something that has impacted everyone in the world. And a lot of people are starting to realize that while we're asking everyone to stay home, staying home is not always the safest place for some people. So could you tell our viewers a little bit about the Independence House and what you guys do and how you're helping people right now during the COVID-19 crisis?
Okay. So Independence House, we've been on Cape Cod for 40 years, and we are a domestic violence and sexual assault resource organization. So what that means is our mission is to really help anyone that's a victim of domestic violence or rape. And we have a domestic violence shelter that's usually full. But we also, most of the work that we do is actually in the community with survivors of domestic violence or rape or sexual assault. So that means that they can come to our offices, and those are not, confidential spaces. And we also have staff that work in the court, and those are the staff that actually work with survivors of domestic violence or harassment, or who are looking to obtain a harassment order or a protective order, a restraining order, they're commonly known by. So we provide a wide array of services that would take a very long time to go through, but we do have a website, which is www.independencehouse.org. So really our mission is really about supporting survivors of domestic violence in every area of their lives that are impacted by domestic or sexual violence. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we do.
That's an incredible mission. And do you see a strong need for these services here on Cape Cod?
Well, I think definitely. I mean, I think the fact that we've been around for 40 years kind of says it all. And our services have been consistently used, and they've grown. So I always like to talk a little bit about when I get that question about Cape Cod, because Cape Cod is no different in terms of these dynamics. So domestic violence, sexual assault have been with us since the beginning of time, and they happen in all communities. Relationships, doesn't matter what your race, class is, your socioeconomic background. So it is, the incidents are, consistent nationally. It's like 1 in 4 women, 1 in 5 for sexual assault. So we see no difference. We serve over 8,000 survivors annually at Independence House. So we're a pretty large organization. So I just want to make sure that everybody on Cape Cod knows that it does happen on Cape Cod, and there are resources available, and we can provide that support around safety planning and whatever you're saying.
Absolutely. Have you noticed an increase in reports with the COVID-19 crisis?
That's a really good question. There are 2 ways to answer that. It's yes and no. So the first few weeks, really there was a decline in calls, and we can guess as to why that is. But in the last week, there has been an increase, and the reports that we're getting from folks that are calling us, they are more, we're seeing that the violence has escalated. So there's a little bit more serious than norm. I mean, all cases of domestic violence are serious. I just want to make that clear.
Yep.
But I guess maybe to put a fine point on it, more injuries.
Well, that's very sad to hear. And I mean, a lot of people are, really bringing this up, for kids, for example, who no longer have access to school, and of course the food programs. I mean, the schools have really stepped up in terms of food, but even just having that reprieve of getting to
Right.
leave the house. I mean, this is obviously the same for other family members that are at risk of, physical, mental, emotional abuse. So how are you reaching people right now, or how are you guys trying to reach people that may be in one of these situations? Because maybe they don't have the opportunity to get away to call
Hmm.
and ask for help. So do you have
Right.
any advice for these people that may be in this situation?
Well, we're trying to reach people in multiple ways. So we're doing your show here. We've put out a press release. We have updated our website with information. We're part of a statewide network of other domestic sexual violence programs. So some of the information that's you know, outlining that our programs are available are being put on the state website. We're doing, I've done many radio interviews. We are, and now I want to take the opportunity to say we're still available, and we are working remotely. We're not closed. And so I think the challenge is how someone may be able to access the means to reach us. So whether that's by telephone or in the past, someone could just come up to Independence House and, we'd always be there. We have an office in Provincetown, Falmouth, Orleans, and Hyannis. Now, because we're working remotely, it's a little bit more challenging. But we would also encourage neighbors to reach out to their neighbors just to say, are you okay? How are you doing? Anything I can do to help? Because that's safe. And yes, I do agree with your statement about school, but it applies to work. So for survivors of domestic violence who would maybe be going into work, they
Mhm.
don't have that reprieve either, or whatever it might be, your routine. So I would say if there are family members, friends that may, come I don't want to use the term drive by, walk by or something, just
Well,
maybe
check.
a well check, exactly. I encourage, of course, our police departments have a role to play. They can do a well check. They can do well checks as well. I understand that some police departments are doing that. I guess if they have cause to believe that they should do so. So I think it's really, we're just trying to encourage ourselves and domestic violence victims to be to think creatively, which many victims are anyway. So we want to rely on their expertise as well to figure out how they might be able to reach out to us. But we're saying that we are available 24/7, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's the only time you could sneak out into the driveway or into your garage or to make a call. If you have a phone, then do that.
And what is your 24-hour hotline number? Because I know you have one, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's 1-800-439-6507.
Okay, we'll make sure that we get that number out. And if they need to reach you online, do they just go to your website? Is there a way to contact you
Yes.
through your website?
Yes. Yes, we have a chat. We have a chat, a confidential chat. It's really, we use it mostly with teens, but if the chat is open, it's not open 24/7, but it is open a lot. And if people go to there, they can even just send a message by the chat and say, I'd like to talk to someone, and someone will follow up with them.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Lisetta. Thank you for what you guys are doing. We really appreciate you continuing to serve the community during this time. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you go? I'm sure you've got lots of work to do.
I just want to say, well, thank you for doing this, and just reiterate that we don't want any person that's experienced domestic violence or even sexual assault to think they're alone and that there are no resources. You're not alone. We are here, and we're here to support you in any way that we can figure out together. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you again. All right, viewers, thank you for watching. You've been watching Cape Media News featuring Independence House with Executive Director Lisetta Hurge Putnam. Thanks again.
Thank you.